Hi everyone, it's Lisa, and today I am going to be making French toast casserole. This is the easy recipe that I'm going to show you how to make. It is very easy. The first thing you have to do is buy a loaf of French bread. You buy the loaf of French bread, let it sit for a couple of days, maybe 2 or 3 days, and let it get stale, you know, like kind of hard. And you have to, in order to make this recipe, the bread has to be a little stale. If you make it with soft bread, it will not turn out the way it really should turn out. So I'm going to go on ahead. There is a piece broken off because my husband and I had a piece. And this is the French bread. Okay, the first thing you have to do, you have to cube the bread. Now, I normally don't cube it perfectly. I just make little small pieces, but if you cube the bread and you make small pieces, it'll work out really good. You don't want the pieces to be way too big. You want the consistency of the bread. Like I said, you don't want it too soft. I mean, you can actually make garlic toast with this bread. The consistency is perfect for garlic toast. So you don't want it too soft, because the milk has to settle into the bread. So if it's too soft, then when you pour the milk, it's going to be soggy and it won't bake right. So you just cube it the best way you can. There we go. Now, of course, if you're making it in a smaller pan, then you want to cut small, you know, you don't want to use the whole loaf. This is the casserole dish that I'm going to be using. You can use a 9x13 casserole dish, whatever works for you. And I'm going to be using this non-sticking spray, cooking spray. I'm going to be using that to coat this dish, and I'm going to put it to the side. Here I have my bread all cut up into cubes. If you don't want to cut it up into cubes, you can just break them off with your hand. As long as you make the size that looks like that and not bigger than that, then it's fine. Now I'm going to make the base of the casserole dish, which is unsalted butter, and 1/2 cup is equal to 1 stick. And I'm going to turn on my stove, and then I need 1 cup of brown sugar, which is, you can use light or dark, whichever one you prefer, but I'm using the light one. And there goes a stick of butter, and I'm just going to add that brown sugar to that. So 1 stick of butter equals to 1/2 cup of butter, and then you add 1 cup of brown sugar. So it's not very hard, so let that heat up, and then I'm going to stir this together. And this is going to be the base that's going to go into the casserole dish first. So this is what it should look like. That should be the right consistency. Pour this in. This smells so good, and then you just spread it. It's very easy to make. Before I put this to the side, let me just go on ahead and put the breadcrumbs inside of the casserole dish. So I'm going to go on ahead and do that. Now you definitely need a bigger bowl. You're going to need 6 eggs. I know that's a lot of eggs, but it works out fine. And you're going to need 2 cups of milk. And I'm going to add vanilla extract. I normally don't measure. You can go by the measurements. I normally don't do that. I'm going to get the cinnamon and add some cinnamon. The cinnamon, to me, gives it more of that French toast taste. Just gives it really good taste, and I really like it. So I always put cinnamon in my French toast. You don't have to add this. You can leave it out. Just make sure all the egg and the milk together. You beat the egg really well. No yolk inside, because you don't want egg inside your French toast, scrambled eggs. Now I'm going to pour the mixture over the French bread. And if you need a little bit more, just get more milk, more egg, like maybe another cup of milk, and one more egg. The milk and the egg is all nice and soaked into the bread. Now I'm going to go on ahead and make the topping. Tablespoon of cinnamon, but I'm not even going to measure it. I'm just going to do this. And there's something else that I like to add to mine. Now, this is something I do. You don't have to do this, but I like to pour a little bit of syrup. Then syrup. And this is just, you can just drizzle it over your casserole. And then in the morning, I'll put a little bit more drizzle on it. But I like to drizzle a little bit of this on top of the casserole. Just like that. It's gonna taste so good. That's the great thing about French toast casserole. You can also add the toppings you want to add to it. Take a little bit of brown sugar on top. Then I'm going to wrap this, and this is going to go in the fridge. It has to go in the fridge for 8 hours. Then you just put it in the oven when you're ready to make it. This is a really nice recipe also for Christmas. And for Christmas, when you add the cranberries, when you layer it, it looks so pretty. It looks very beautiful. So it's definitely a nice Thanksgiving breakfast. If you have family coming over, this is a great Thanksgiving breakfast, a nice breakfast to take to church. Okay, I'm just going to put some aluminum foil over it. Also put a book on top of it to keep it pressed down, but I'm not going to do that because it came out okay. I don't need to. Now I'm going to put this in my refrigerator. Okay, whew. Hope you enjoyed it. And this is easy to make. It's not hard at all. So I'm going to be taking this syrup with me to the picnic. And then this is the syrup that I used to put with the brown sugar and the cinnamon and make the topping. I'm not going to take this to church because this is like the real maple syrup that we use at home. And it'll be gone really quick if I do. It is Sunday morning. And here is the French toast casserole. I put it in the oven at 450, and you can bake it for 30 minutes. Sometimes you have to adjust your oven. It depends what kind of oven you have, how quick your oven cooks, how slow it cooks. You just have to make sure you check it so it doesn't burn. You can drizzle some honey on this. You can drizzle syrup. It's really good. And I recommend to try to find yourself a casserole carrier. Like if you have a casserole dish, try to find yourself a carrier. Like if you're going to picnics, church functions, and you just want to put your beautiful casserole inside of a carrier. This one has a rack that comes with it, and it has these Velcro straps that keeps the dish strapped down. So these are really great to have. I hope you have a great Sunday. I hope you enjoy this recipe, and may God bless you, and I'll talk to everyone in the next video. Bye.